Let's go to the news, Kevin.
I like it. The news, we had a big week, I would say. I talked a little bit on the top of the show about Scatter. They have opened up reservations for IDs about 48 hours ago. So if you would like any kind of ID on EOS, if you have a certain name that means a lot to you, even names like Bob or Bill are probably still available. So someday, if you think about yourself, I wonder who owns Bob at gmail.com, right? Or bluejays@gmail.com, right? Well, you could be that person on EOS at this point with Scatter. So go ahead and go on to airdrops.scatter. We'll put the link in our chat, but basically it's airdrops.scatter/EOS dot I think it's com.com.
Yeah,
And you
and
can
one of
go
the
in there.
cool thing is that there's this bidding process that you can use to not only reserve but also auction your favorite name. I heard that Batman's taken. Wen Moon actually has, I think, the top votes as far last time I checked. So the username Wen Moon, Kevin, was that you?
That you know what? That wasn't me. I'm yeah. When I get to the moon, I won't be asking that question anymore. So
Yeah.
it's a fun little way to for Scatter to raise some money, and also so you're supporting Scatter. It's one EOS per name, which also prevents spam. So we don't have bots going in there and just registering all the names that people might want. So yeah, go in there and have some fun. The link is in the chat, or it's about to be posted on there. There are a few things that Mr. James, Nathan James, has talked about how you can reserve multiple names with the same MetaMask account and EOS public key.
Very good.
You can also have both biddable and private names associated with the same key. And also, reservations get an extra 50 Riddle tokens. So if you sell your reservation to a bidder, you're also giving them the tokens as they are tied to the identity and not to the public key. So there's more in the Scatter Telegram channel, a few more things to learn about. So if you are interested, head on over there. Have a good time with getting your favorite names. And I believe Blue Jays, you're going to be registering I Love Ponies 22.
Already taken. I don't know. I
Oh,
was too late.
that must have been Nathan himself, I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
Yeah. In fact, he does have reserved names. So
He said that, yeah, when he was on the interview, there are certain names that he did reserve, like Dan, for example, probably already reserved. Scatter, those kind of things. Shintai, I believe, as well, and hopefully EOS Go. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to talk to him more
I
about that.
believe he did. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Nathan, if you did.
Yep.
Uh, let's go on to France embracing cryptocurrency. This happened last Wednesday, I believe it was the 21st. So it
Wow.
is fairly old news at this point. However, it's great to see that there are legal structures in place for entities, for DAX to sort of adopt. So France has been sort of leading the way in terms of figuring out how to create these, how to have this legal structure. So a lot of folks are using LLC or trying to use an organization, or they're doing this in Switzerland or Puerto Rico, wherever. But France is stepping up as well, and they're trying to sort of be at the forefront of this new technology revolution for blockchain. Um, the minister said, "The finance is not our enemy; it is one of the assets of our economy. The blockchain will offer new opportunities to our startups, for example, with initial coin offerings that will allow them to raise funds through tokens or crypto assets. And it promises to create a network of trust without intermediaries and to offer increased traceability of transactions and overall to make the economy more efficient." He sounds like he's bought into blockchain, which is very exciting. And of
Yep.
course, those are some of the key tenets to EOS itself: transparency, traceability, all those things, auditability.
There is a interesting meme out there about the G20 countries and their stance on crypto. I don't know if you saw it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did.
Hmm.
Okay. I thought it was very interesting, and if we get a link to that, we'll put it in the forums, the EOS Go forums, if I come across that. So, yeah, France, go France. I mean, we will not miss the blockchain revolution. That's what they said in the article. Somebody's quoted. I believe that was the French finance minister. So,
It's great to see. Every time there is some kind of big news like this released, the entire cryptocurrency, I guess you'd call it community, gets very excited about it. Of course, mainstream adoption is coming, this and that. It's a longer road than that. It's not just about a couple of announcements. It's going to require that we educate
yeah.
and we work together as a blockchain community, and we make our blockchain as great as it can be. We build all the tools necessary so that people can adopt it. We have maybe cafes where people can drink coffee and they can pay with EOS, those kind of things, and collaborate on projects for EOS.
Such a
So
cool project.
I know, right? a lot of things coming up. So make sure that we're all working together here, not against each other. It doesn't matter if it's even if it's Ethereum or some other project as well. We're all trying to do the same thing in the end, which is to do what the French finance minister said. Let's make it more traceable and auditable and transparent and efficient.
Yeah.
So I thought that was great news. Also, let's move forward to the FinLab $100 million venture capitalist fund for EOS. Block One has teamed up with multiple venture capitalists. We've heard about Mike Novogratz and his Galaxy investments. They have $325 million dedicated towards projects specifically built on EOS. There's also the Tomorrow Ventures.
Tomorrow VC.
Tomorrow VC, yep. They have a certain number as well dedicated to EOS projects. And then FinLab is basically, they have mentioned that it is specifically for European-based projects. Mm-hmm. Read a little bit of here. The Block One, the developer behind the leading software, EOS.io, and FinLab AG, which is one of the first and largest company builders and investors. They now have a new $100 million fund managed by FinLab that will make it strategic. They will make strategic investments throughout Europe in projects that utilize EOS.io open source software. And they're saying that you should send your emails into VC at Block One, VC at Block.one, I should say. And then I guess you could tag it for the FinLab group if you are based in Europe and you'd like to work with them specifically. There are other ways to reach out to FinLab. You can reach out to them on Twitter, probably through their website. So if you're interested, reach out to them for some funding. And if you have a relevant project that would make sense. I thought the best part, or one of the best parts, not to mention the huge amount of venture capitalist funding that's flowing into EOS, but also about how much they love DPoS, mm-hmm. of all things, delegated proof of stake. They just talk about how it's an approach that's shown to vastly improve the speed and resiliency by which blockchain networks operate and scale. So they pretty much nailed it on the head. They clearly know what they're doing. And I think it's a great move for everyone in EOS.
Yeah, these VC funds are coming out everywhere. So all this means is there's going to be these amazing projects that are going to be deployed on an EOS chain. And what kind of projects can there be with a whole bunch of money? There's going to be really good projects out there. So the ideas are flowing, and I just can't wait to see what gets developed.
Hey, excuse me there. I'm trying to see if my sound is working okay. I know it's going up and down a little bit in volume. Let me know if there's something I can fix there, Bluejays. Let's see. So, and going forward to, let's talk about the EOS White Paper 2.0 for a moment. So the Block One put out a 2.0 version of the white paper, which was fairly old at this point. It had been released in June of 2017 previously, and so they put out a bunch of updates. And actually, Saeed of EOS.cafe released a list of changes for everybody on Steam, which was very helpful. He basically broke down what had changed in there, and in bullet form, he talked about how the account names, the maximum length of an account name now is 12 characters, down from 32 characters. Basically, they're trying to make the account names more readable, more accessible for the average user. Other things like the account creator must stake for RAM until the new account stakes its own tokens for RAM. Removal of the ability for accounts to organize personal message handlers into named and nested groups. A lot of things. Basically, the worker proposal system is better fleshed out in this new white paper. They talk more about that. And governance as well, talking about the 15 block producers to do consensus, down from 17. So that number has dropped slightly as well. If you're looking for that white paper, we'll put the link up. What were your thoughts? What did you take away from the white paper itself there, Bluejays?
Yeah, I originally went through this, and the team did update the BFT DPoS and transactions proof of stake. So if you want to see what those are, we have videos that we released early on in January regarding both a Byzantine fault-tolerant DPoS and also transactions of proof of stake. So check out in the EOS Go channel for videos by Dan Larimer himself explaining what those mean in a whiteboard. That part struck out to me. There's a lot of just amazing information that has been released in this second iteration of the white paper. So I mean, there's just a lot there to put in. And the other thing that highlighted to me was inter-blockchain communication. I think this is going to be one of the major sort of features of this software is its ability to communicate with other blockchains. Dan mentioned this as well, that in some of the Telegram channels and chats, that it has something to do with the headers, and then
Yeah.
you're able to the full history of the block headers gets communicated from chain to chain, and in the block header it tells what chain it is. So it's kind of like an identity for a chain, and as you go across different chains, you can communicate. All the technical information is there. It's just amazing, the amount of features that are going into this EOS IO software from a blockchain perspective, and you would be well served to take a look at it.
Yeah, he talked about in the past, those headers are kind of like zip codes
Yeah.
or area codes even. They're just talking about where the blockchain is coming from, the idea of the blockchain, and also the state of the blockchain. So like Bitcoin, for example, you have to go back and verify every single transaction that's ever happened on the chain in order to be up to date. But in the EOS headers, basically you have to verify that header, and therefore when you verify the header, you're verifying the previous state of the entire chain without having to go through all that work. And so EOS, of course, becomes a lot more efficient. And I think you're kind of nailing it on the head with inter-blockchain communication. Who needs a hard fork when you can just communicate with all the different chains, right?
Yeah, and something else that really spoke to me, Kevin, was the recovery from stolen keys. I think this is something like we've mentioned, like Dan mentioned in one of the videos. You put your private key on a table, and you leave it there. Someone comes by and they take it. Just because they own it doesn't mean it's theirs. There is the facility to uh, recover from any keys that have been stolen from you, and also make sure that the keys are owned by the person with the proper identity as well. That has been confirmed. So that's just something that is not being taken care of in other projects, and it's just something that, again, in EOS that we're going to have in there. For example, we're going to have Apple Secure Enclave to basically manage identity, and I don't know how this is going to work. I'm just excited to see it.
Yeah, so you could just basically take an old iPhone with Apple Enclave or your laptop, your MacBook, and you could use your fingerprint to log into your wallet. And of course, there will be dApps that integrate that, possibly Scattercan at some point in order to unlock your funds. But it's a very advanced way to look at hardware wallets where you don't need a USB with special considerations. And Ledger, of course, had those issues. There was a hack. Some 15-year-old was able to hack into Ledger, into their code, and it was able to sweep funds if he wanted to. I think he actually did not do it. I don't remember the full details, but I believe he just exposed it. And so therefore, that is being fixed. So with something like Apple Secure Enclave, of course, we're just stepping up the security. I mean, you said at EOS, there's so much going on that is such an improvement over the current options. It's just very exciting to see what comes. And let's move on as well to, we're going to talk about the growing whale concerns. So a whale, let's go back and just mention that a whale is someone or a group that has a lot of money, a lot of wealth, and they have a lot of tokens because they bought those tokens and they want to own a large part of the network. There are growing concerns in the community about whales. There have been talk about a wealthy person having hands in multiple BPs or block producers. And basically a wealthy person could go and fund all these different block producers and then go about with his wealthy friends trying to get those block producers voted in, and then have a recurring source of revenue that cannot be displaced or replaced, rather. So if you have all these block producers and you say you own 5 of them or 10 of them and you're a wealthy guy, and you have all these block producers that are getting more tokens in that can just vote for themselves and keep themselves in, it becomes a growing concern. It becomes a snowball rolling down a hill, right? So there has been some concern about a possible foreign collusion effort going on. I won't mention which country or what's been going on, but there was an article that came out in that country, and it just talked about how that might make sense. And it was very concerning to a lot of the folks in the Block Pros channel. Did you follow along with this discussion?
I did. I saw a lot of the infographics. I saw 2 very interesting ones. One was I believe it was EOS 42 who had a infographic showing the relationships between a a block producer or a block producer set of block producers. And then there was also one by EOS SoCal that I believe Thomas referred to earlier on about the whales. So how many whales and who owns tokens and the amount, and they even broke down the different type of whales. So you can go all the way from I forget what the smallest whale was, but it was a small whale, and then there's levels of whales apparently, Kevin. Uh, so a big blue whale was at the bottom, and then you had like a tiny little baby whale at the top. But they pretty much broke it down to if you have more than 200,000 tokens, then you're a whale, and then you're going all the way down to somebody who's a big blue whale who owns 10 million tokens or something like that. So there's a lot of this talk, but I would like to say that arbitration is something different here than we think of having whale concerns in another chain. Arbitration is here to possibly deal with these type of things, and as well, Thomas brought it up earlier, if you have a certain stake in a chain and you're a whale, what is your incentive to be a bad actor here? So it's a good question. I'm not saying that it's there's a right or wrong, but we shouldn't assume that whales are going to be a bad actor. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I have a hard time wrapping my head around this myself. I have to wonder whether power is that intoxicating for a wealthy individual. If there is a wealthy individual and they believe in EOS as much as we all do, right, and they know that EOS may be the next backbone of the blockchain internet, perhaps they would like to have a large slice of that, and they'd like to own multiple block producers, and they're willing to do what it takes to get there. With arbitration, you're correct. However, I saw a comment by Sam Sapoznik the other day in the EOS governance channel, and he talked about who wants to be the arbitrator who decides against a whale in that situation, right?
Good
Who
point.
says, oh yeah, your 450 million tokens, boom, they're gone because you are doing bad stuff. Nobody wants that job. Let me tell you something, that's dangerous. So I don't entirely know how it'll work out. I guess it goes back to the community. Well, we have to decide how we would like to make a constitution. I mean, is there a way to do private arbitration where the arbitrators don't have to reveal their identities, and they can just decide on the facts without concern for their own safety? I think that's one solution. We need to. It would be nice if there was some process for us as a community to come together and make these decisions. These hard decisions that need kind of a formal answer. I'm wondering how that will look on EOS itself, and I'm wondering if there's another way we can do it now, really, and start making these decisions before EOS even launches.
Yeah.
And that way we can try and circumvent issues before they really crop up.
It's market forces, code, community. It all comes together. And it's going. The thing is those whales believe in the project enough to buy those tokens. So that's the market force. Then we have our community questioning, is this healthy? So that's also a healthy process as well. So it's all good, healthy stuff, in my opinion.
Sure, and it gets more meta too. I mean, who are we to decide as non-whales what those whales, what their intentions may be and whether they are valuable to the community or not? It's not up to us, right? We need to just accept the fact that there are going to be folks who are heavier than we are in the ecosystem, and so it's an arbitration. I think I'm looking forward to seeing more how that will turn out and how arbitrators can be protected in scenarios where they have to make very difficult decisions. Sam mentioned the 3 arbitrators idea, and possibly being private. So, but we know that EOS itself is not a private chain. So these are more questions to be worked out. So let's leave it at that for now, I suppose, unless you have something else to add for the.
No.
Okay. Let's move forward. So that was
I think we beat that whale to death.
Thank you there, Blue Jays. The Dan Q&A. So Dan likes to come in every once in a while into Telegram, EOS General Chat, and he has been very active lately. And he talked about all sorts of things. Steam 2.0 is confirmed. This is the second or third time he has said that, yep, Steam 2.0 is coming. This time he actually talked about how there is a name already in place for the Steam 2.0, and it is not Steam 2.0, he verified, but he would not say what the name actually is. they are still waiting to release that information. So he also talked about next gen governance after June to help mitigate the power of those whales.
Wow.
And he has also said that Block One will vote for block producer if it comes right down to it. We talked about this with Thomas earlier, but they will vote if they have to in order to mitigate the power of whales as well. So I guess we have some exciting things coming up that Dan is alluding to, but we don't know. And also the DApps from Block One are not coming at launch, but they will come later in the year. And they are currently in development as well, from what is being said. So what do you think there, Blue Jays? What are your takeaways from Dan's bombs?
DApp's not coming at launch, but later. So I figure, I mean, it it would seem sensible to have DApps to be coming out this year, and I just can't wait to see what they are. Steam 2.0 seems confirmed, and I think that would be a good possibility. Having mentioned already. I'm just excited to see what that would look like, and also this EOS wallet will work better than a Steam wallet, and the Steam wallet is pretty cool. I mean, you can have so many different keys and send out the Steam wallet. If you haven't used it, is has a lot of functionality to it, and for EOS to work better than that, it says a lot. And Dan always learns something new from his previous projects and implements it in new projects. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that has entail.
Sure. And what do you think the new name for the Steam 2.0 will be?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to even guess, right? I mean, so he put out, it was a few weeks ago in Telegram when he was doing another Q&A and mentioned Steam 2.0, and he actually asked community members for their thoughts on what the name should be.
What about hashtag delete Facebook?
Well, that's an interesting name. Hashtag deletefacebook.com. It might get some initial traction, that's for sure. There's a lot of anger surrounding Facebook right now.
Yeah.
Should we talk about that? I mean,
so I guess that's one of the things that we had done with our infographic, is we showed that data was being sold, and that's kind of what ended up happening, right? In this scandal or whatever it is that happened, and now that this hashtag delete Facebook is out there, this is something that, do you know that your data is being sold?
You're right. Yeah, and that's the thing with blockchain is it isn't a completely open book with blockchain. So I guess all of the advantages that the company that took that either stole the data or bought it, or some combination of both, they were able to use that data to make psychographic analysis and marketing and target certain groups and be able to sway opinion. Now with blockchain, everything is already out there. So I guess supposedly these companies that have these tools would already have the data available anyway, right? So they could just make more powerful psychographic marketing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that there will be transparent smart contracts and transparent data on the blockchain. So whatever's done with it, it's going to be known. And it'll also be very protected as well too. If you don't want it or cryptographically, it can be protected as well too. So there's other options.
And that's the beautiful thing about it. Like you said, everything's seen on blockchain, so we can see who's been pulling what data, and we can hopefully connect all the dots. That's again up to the community to be able to see what's been going on, and which company is possibly trying to manipulate data and voter opinion in situations like this Facebook issue where Cambridge Analytica was caught trying to do these things. So
what's up with the block producer report, Kevin?
Well, so coming out Wednesday, we have the checkmark criteria. This will be the first time that we're doing checkmark criteria. We had initially released this back. We had released this back in early March, even late February, about how we'd like block producers to sort of put everything out there for the community, whether it's tech specs and budget plan, community projects, scaling, all that kind of stuff, and also a public ID to show who you are as a company, where you're based out of. All that information, we're asking for it on the Steam blockchain just because it's the best way to provide a non-tamperable way, it's basically the best blockchain currently to put this kind of information out there where everybody can audit it, everybody can see what's happened to the data, right? So we're trying to use the power of Steam blockchain to help the community vet the block producers themselves. So all we're asking for, and a lot of block producers are familiar with this already, but the rest of the community may not be quite as familiar. We are just asking for these block producers to submit certain pieces of information, as long as they say it fits the criteria. Like, hey, this is my scaling plan. It's on Steam. So we give them the check mark for it, right? And it's up to the community to go in there and look at it and say, well, it was just a sentence. It wasn't actually a scaling plan, right? So there is still some work on the community's part to actually vet these producers, because we're just basically acting as that information clearinghouse to help get the information out there.
Yeah.
So that'll come out March 28th. That's this Wednesday. And block producers, you can still submit your info now for about 23 more hours, 22 more hours. The deadline is 23:59 Universal Time. That's UTC tomorrow. That's Tuesday, the 27th is the deadline. So submit your links to us, please. Send them in. Put them on the forums. Email them to admin@eosgo.io if you would like to get us the links to earn the check marks so that you look better on the report to the voters. So let's move on to meetups there, Blue Jays. What do you have?
So, okay, well let's do a nice little video here of Blockgenic in Seattle, and we'll come back and actually let's read off some of the ones that we've already previously read off that are coming up. So we have EOS Atlanta this Thursday, April 5th. I believe Thomas Cox will be there. Sans Goatee. Then we will have on April 6th, Friday, we'll have one in Hong Kong. And then Thomas Cox comes, part of his same tour, I believe, or a different tour he's doing. He'll be in Detroit. And then there's the Shenzhen video that we had last week, March 24. And, that's already passed. Yeah, sorry, guys.
That was the 24th, yeah.
Yeah. And then a Bangkok one, which I'm not sure about. So we'll check on that one.
And really the biggest one that people should know about is the Hong Kong meetup, and EOS is actually EOS.io or Block One. They have released a YouTube video for a live stream link. It sounds like it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
We already know Ian Grigg is speaking. There may be other confirmed guests as well, and it's we also know that there may be some news coming from Block One about what's coming up for the ecosystem. So
this reminds me of the Seoul meetup.
The Seoul meetup in January. It sounds like it's going to be a similar type of vibe and experience and situation. So that is coming up the 6th of April, I believe. What is that?
Friday.
It looks a Friday. Yep. And that's Hong Kong. So it will be Thursday if you're in the United States or on the East Coast. Of course. Yeah. So anyway, take it away with the Blockgenic meetup video we have from Seattle.
Okay.
Hello everyone. My name is Yannick and I'm part of Blockgenic. In this video, I'm going to give you an introduction to our meetup group and to our upcoming meetup on March 29. So, we created this meetup group because we wanted to bring together all cryptocurrency enthusiasts and all EOS enthusiasts in and near Seattle and basically educate them on EOS. And we also wanted to do something for people who are already familiar with EOS, as we have people from various dApp projects speaking at our event. So our first meetup will be hosted on March 29th, and some of the speakers at our first meetup include David Moss from TrueBlock. We have Eugene Luskin from EOS Salt Lake City. We will have a speaker from Everpedia, and we also have Rahul Sonat from Testloop. We plan on live streaming the whole event, and we also plan on uploading the video of the event after. So we plan on sharing links to that on our Twitter and on our meetup page. So if you want to stay updated and see the live stream, see the videos, you should definitely follow us on Twitter at Blockgenic, or you should join our meetup group at EOS Seattle. And that's basically it. So we hope to see you soon, and thank you all for listening.
Well, that was Yannick from EOS Seattle from Blockgenic.
Blockgenic, and I believe they're a block producer candidate based out of Seattle, the United States, in Washington State. And did he say David Moss is coming to that meetup?
Wow. I didn't catch that, but probably we'll need to confirm that.
He said David Moss of a different company. Maybe I don't know how all that's working out at the moment. But anyway, it looks like Thomas Cox is also on the roster there as well. So that seems to be a powerhouse meetup from what I'm seeing. It's Thursday, March 29th. Let's see. Yeah, presenters David Moss with True Block and Eugene with EOS Salt Lake City, Everpedia. So Thomas Cox is actually, I'm looking at their meetup page right now, and he is listed on the members list. And looks like he is not going to be speaking at this particular meetup. He may in the future. He is based fairly close to that area. So nonetheless, there is David Moss from True Block, which may not be the same David Moss we know from Block One. But then again, Thomas Cox is now blockchain governance expert. So we don't know exactly what could be happening here. What are your thoughts there, Blue Jays?
I think these meetups are so cool. Like EOS Cafe mentioned, is bringing it to the real world. And when you go to a meetup, you just meet just people that you would never have thought you would have met. Troy was a farmer, and he met up with a couple guys who can launch Linux clusters, right? So that's just cool.
I agree. Yeah, it is such an invigorating experience. You can't capture the enthusiasm through text on Telegram. You can't talk to people and hear their backgrounds and quite as much. So it's a fun experience. If you have not been to a meetup, please make sure you get to one. And we'll continue to try and find all the meetups that are happening for EOS. And if you are an organizer or you're trying to help or you just know about one, please let us know on the forums or on Telegram or email us, whichever the case is, because we'd like to help get the word out about meetups always.
Well, let's wrap it up, Kevin. That was a great show.
Yeah, I had a good time as always. What are your final thoughts there, Blue Jays? Thoughts of the week?
I'm just interested in seeing that EOS Index and these projects and all of these different parts coming together as a whole. The number, it's almost mimicking, it is a free market, and we're going to see projects come in, be successful. We're going to see projects come in and fade away. And I think having an index of them, also having the supporter, the right features, make it this awesome ecology in this free market that everything is just blossoming right now. And this is literally, I believe, 2 months until the launch, right? So this is awesome.
Yeah, things continue to ramp up as always. Every week we have some new stuff to talk about, and that will always be the case, I believe. It looks like when it comes to not just the dApps that come in, but also any kind of arbitration issue that might be happening. There will be a lot of cases going on at any given time. There will always be endless news, and we'll be reporting on all of it. Of course, that's what we do, not just here, but also in the Telegram summaries and in the news updates and everything else we'll try to put out to help the community stay up to date with everything. So when it comes to my thoughts, pretty much the same thing. I think block producers are going to start appearing more frequently soon, and the level of block producer, the quality of the block producer candidate, the companies that will come out, I think will be powerful. Mm-hmm. That's just a guesstimate right now, but somehow I'm getting that feeling that it's going to get, the competition will increase. So this is a collaboration. You have these block producers that need to work together, provide each other with the tools and the advice and so on and so forth. You heard Thomas talk about that as well, how they can't just be this little clique. Mm-hmm. There needs to be a welcoming sort of vibe. However, of course, that to some degree that will be inevitable when you have a bunch of people, like you said, that have known each other for a while, they're friends, and they work together, they've accomplished a lot together. They're naturally going to sort of gravitate towards each other. However, having a powerful candidate comes in that has a lot of money and a lot of experience and can bring a lot to the ecosystem, they're going to be tough to beat. So that's what we'll continue to see as EOS grows, as the dApps start to build up and the population of those dApps starts to increase. Yep. And then the block producers have more money and the token, all that kind of stuff. It's just, as we know, it is a snowball going down a hill, but also up to the moon, all that stuff. So we don't talk about price here very often, but it's fun to every once in a while joke about it. So.
Yeah.
All right. So what should we do? Where should we send folks? The forums, of course, if you'd like to discuss EOS, and if with people who love EOS, and not only that, but are passionate about where it's going. We have some brilliant people on the forums that talk about amazing things. The governance forum is very active. The first article of the Constitution draft is on the governance forum. Thomas Cox wrote it himself and put it up there, and more is to come as well. So if you'd like to get involved in that, go to the forums.
Also, so that's forums.eosgo.io. We also have our YouTube channel, which you can click subscribe to right now, and also our Twitter handle at go_EOS. And then we also have our community updates channel on Telegram, which we blast important updates to. So that's how you can keep in contact with us.
Yeah, the Telegram channel is very powerful because it is only announcements. So it's only the important stuff that comes through on that channel. You don't have to try and scroll back up through all sorts of stuff. We just put out the relevant information that is important so you can keep up to date more easily. So we are going to head out. We'll see you guys next week. We have some great guests next week as well, and we're looking forward to seeing you there.
Go EOS.
Thank you, and go EOS.
Good night, everybody.